things didn't go as planned because of the hat and the flying fists. A lot of damage was done to the group. Ford limped through it. The movie almost wasn't PG because of a face melt. Some kids from Mississippi made it all over again, frame by frame after a long time. 20 weird things about Raiders of the Lost Ark. And George Lucas himself hit a Star Wars Easter egg in the middle of all the chaos. Do not let out any breath. The Ark is being taken apart. It all started on a beach. Two friends are walking and talking as they try to get away from the stress of Hollywood. Steven Spielberg had just missed the chance to direct a James Bond movie. He told George Lucas that he still wanted to make that kind of movie. International, dangerous, and well-known. He turned his head away. I can give you something better. He told them he was an archaeologist who had been all over the world. The story of a lost curve, a whip, and a hat. Not as smooth as Bond, but worn out, dirty and mortal. Spielberg had a great time right away. What was wrong was there wasn't a story yet. They made a deal on that beach. Not much help from the company and not a long time to create. They'd enjoy it. Indiana Jones got his start with that conversation between two friends in the sand, not in a business meeting or a writer's room, but in the space between being let down and being motivated. Second, Spielberg didn't want Harrison Ford to be the main character. Not at first. He was afraid it would be the same as seeing Han Solo again. There's too much comfort and ease. They looked everywhere. A lot of painters were reading, but one stood out. Tom Selleck. He was handsome and had a beard. Selleck was ready to go. Now that the contracts are ready, the interviews are over. He was so good on the test that he wore a hat, a whip, and a leather jacket. In the studio it was simple. They had a quester, then something bad happened that no one saw coming. CBS. There was no way for him to leave Magnum PI. The deal was set in stone. No matter how much he begged, they wouldn't let him in. The part was gone right away. Selleck got beat up. Steven Spielberg was caught off guard. Time was running out. In just a few weeks, Raiders would not have had a new movie, a hero, or any time. He agreed with Spielberg this time when he said, I still think Harrison's the guy. They called 3 weeks early to make the plan. Ford picked up the phone. That's how the story started. Not with a plan but with an extra one. Third, it didn't sound like a name. It's too easy, too soft, and too much like the next-door accountant. Lucas first meant for the movie to be called The Adventures of Indiana Smith. He loved it. I felt like it had a series feel from the past. Not really for Spielberg. It didn't sound right to him. Bad and simple to forget. They went back and forth. Think of other names. The states of Wyoming, Montana, and Dakota were all tried. They gave a change that was so simple it was funny and it made sense. Keep Indiana, L.E. Smith, and make it Jones. Everything went together just right. It sounded like a story all of a sudden, like something set in stone. A name from the past, not one from a list. He was happy about it. That's a really cool trip. Fourth, when they shot it was 30 degrees outside. Going everywhere by air. Food that has been out for too long. The cast and crew worked long days in Tunisia, and almost everyone got sick. Going through takes while having diarrhea, throwing up and sweating. One by one they fell like flies. Harrison Ford caught a cold. Hi, Mr. George Lucas, awful. Only one name was left out. Spielberg. A lot of people bet on the food in the area, but he stayed in his trailer and brought a lot of spaghetti from home. He ate the same thing every day. It wasn't risky or old, and while the other crew members clenched their stomachs between takes, Spielberg stood up straight and looked calm and full. It was probably the best and least cinematic thing the director could have done. Fifth, there was meant to be a real fight, a sword versus a whip. He backed into a dusty alley and looked at a master fighter with a blade the size of a canoe oar. The fight had been planned, practiced, and everything was ready for it. But there was one thing wrong. Ford was going to lose his life. Not really, but pretty close. He felt sick to his stomach. The mean kind. They shivered, sweated and cramped during every take. He was so weak that it was hard for him to stand up, let alone whip. They had a plan. The cast, crew and gear are all having to wait in the... Ford was the one who told Spielberg to pull away. What if I shoot him? He blinked, thought for a moment, and then smiled. Let's do it. The film was rolled. He showed off how well he could use the sword. Ford got sick and angry, which was typical of him, so he pulled out his gun and shot. One shot. That's all there is to it now. Everyone laughed. Hey Spielberg, I kept it. The crowd went crazy. What was supposed to be a fight turned out to be one of the funniest twists in action movie history. It was all because Harrison Ford couldn't control himself. Sixth, Ford's luck didn't get much better. After a few days he jumped, hit the ground hard and tore a muscle in his knee during a scene with a lot of tricks. It hurt right away. Swelling and pain. He had a hard time bending it. He was told to fly back to London for treatment by the doctor. Ford said no. He put a bandage on his knee, took some drugs, and kept going. Pay close attention to some scenes, and you'll see that he's weak. He doesn't stop even though he's standing on one leg. It looks like Indy is rough, tired and physically worn out. Acting is not what that is. Harrison Ford could hardly keep it together, but he did it. Seventh, the Nepalese fight in the bar was already a mess. People pull out guns, break bottles and the fire grows. Karen Allen, who played Marion, was practicing her big escape when things went wrong. Her dress caught fire. Her back had a fire streak going up it. It wasn't a game. That moment when no one knew it was real was pretty scary. The fire was put out by someone on the team who grabbed her. She was scared but she was okay. It was still pretty close. Not only is that crazy, desperate energy you see at the end fake, it's real. She was almost as close as an inch to becoming the most dangerous stuntwoman in the movie. They wanted a show was the eighth reason. It's big, loud and simple to remember. That's why they did it by hand. A real huge Nazi airplane wing with a steel base and blades that spin. There is no CGI or hacking. Also, they didn't make the blast happen. The team filled the plane with real fuel. Pyrotechnics were all over the bottom. You only get one chance to do it right. The stunt happened in Tunisia. There's gas, metal, fire, time and 12 parts that work. The charges went off when the director told everyone to do something, and the world caught on fire. Everyone didn't think the blast would be that big. The blast wave wasn't even a part of the show at one scary point. It ripped the set apart. The team jumped for safety as things flew off and fires raged. This scene could have gone very badly with just one mistake. When the smoke cleared, it was easy to see how bad the damage was, but no one was seriously hurt. The shots were fired but no one fixed the damage. They were ready to do anything for one great movie moment. 9. Spielberg made the scary parts seem real. There won't be any fake snakes or stop motion. The Wranglers were asked to film the Well of Souls. Truck after truck came. After each box and bag, they threw them on the set, hissing and crawling in real life. Harrison Ford had to walk right into more than 7,000 snakes that were on the floor, but one snake wasn't being nice. A snake that is curled up, raised and ready to go. To take the shot, Karen Allen got down on her knees. It hit with its hood spread out. She was only living because of one thing, a piece of plastic that is almost clear. Almost. Watch the scene very carefully. The picture on the safety glass can still be seen when the process is over. A blink and you miss it moment when Mary and Ravenwood almost died in the movie. What scared them more than the snakes on set was how close they got. 10th number. It was never just passed. Not as long as George Lucas was in it. Lucas always looked at Raiders like a prize chest, and he couldn't help but add his own idea. Pay close attention to the old hieroglyphs that are in the Well of Minds but can't be seen. You can make out what R2-D2 and C-3PO look like. Not in focus, not a secret, just there, with fans ready with their sharp eyes and freeze frame. Besides that, there was also another galactic Easter egg. Before Indy got there, Lucas added another secret to the arc. There is an airplane at the start of the movie. Watch the body very carefully. You'll see the name OBCPO, which is a clever low-key nod to both C-3PO and Obi-Wan Kenobi. There was more to it than just background. They were Lucas's unique mark, and a wink to all worlds. From space to old Graves shows, since he didn't think of them as two different places, they were both born with the ability to make up stories. One is a hero with a sword and the other is a chosen one with a whip. That could be why it felt so amazing to raid. It wasn't just over. As the story goes, someone who knew how to hide a galaxy in the woods told it. 11. The hat wasn't just a joke. That person it was. Indiana Jones didn't have a hat on. Not possible. In real life though, that hat kept flying off while doing stunts, chase scenes and shooting in the windy desert. Ford couldn't keep it on his head. The outfit team came up with new ideas. They added special fabric on the inside that was tight enough to stay in place during punches, jumps and even full-on whip cracks. It worked even without glue or a chin strap. The hat stays on during the truck drag and the rock escape in the end movie. Even though it doesn't make sense, it wasn't just chance. They planned it. If the hat flew away, so would the story. 13. That makes your hands sweat. Indy jumps on a moving truck, fights his way forward and gets thrown under the wheels. He drags behind the truck and holds on for dear life. Most fans don't know this though. That scene was based on real events. Harrison Ford also didn't have a trick double. The idea came from the 1939 Western Stagecoach. The well-known stuntman Yakama Kana did a risky under-horse wagon drag in that movie. I liked playing it a lot, and wanted to honor it with trucks. They planned the shot in Tunisia and dug a hole just big enough for Ford's body to fit through. He wore a chain that was hard to see. There is only one chance, and there is no other plan. The camera moved, the truck rolled, and Ford went down. He was breathing in dust and had tires right next to his head. There was a risk every second. He did a wonderful job. From start to finish, it doesn't matter that moment, that drag or that Ford is risking his life so that Indy can become famous. He did it to honor more than just the stage manager. He left his mark on movie history. 13. Tamarins were all over Alfred Molina in his very first movie scene. Snakes crawled across Molina's back as Satipo, Indiana Jones's bad luck guide, led him through a cave. They rolled the camera and put dozens on him while waiting for him to move. But he didn't. They just sat there. There was no moving or twitching. There was just a strange, fuzzy quiet. Spielberg had no idea what was going on until the animal trainer stepped in. All male, he said. They wouldn't move, so they put a woman on Molina's shoulder. Instant chaos. The guys started to fight, scurry and crawl all over Molina and each other. Even though the scene came to life, Alfred Molina stayed still and was hidden by tarantulas that were mad at him on his first day and in his first movie. That's a good start. 14. They had to have a Nazi robot. They didn't have one. It wasn't going to be fake for Spielberg. The movie was being filmed in Europe, not far from where another big war movie had just ended. Get rid of the boot. It was still whole, complete, huge and full of details. Their solution was to rent it, paint some new names on it, and put it in the right frame. Indy all of a sudden had a real Nazi submarine that he could use to make his daring escape. Spielberg was given a toy, which doesn't happen very often in movie history. A German war story was used to inspire an American trip. Attackers became bigger, noisier, and more stable all of a sudden. 13. That wasn't something they thought would happen. They came on a crazy prize hunt that took them all over the world. When the Ark opened, everything changed. The air turned into electricity. When the Nazis screamed, their faces turned into mush, rot and cracks. That was 1981, and things were very bad. Lines were crossed at that time. Kids screamed, and the cinemas got very quiet. The MPA soon got a lot of complaints. There was no air in the room. PG grade too, because without it, they'd lose the family audience that made blockbusters a hit. They got through though. Not any cuts or changes, just a strong warning and good luck. That scary scene stayed the same, and it helped start a conversation across the country that led to the new PG-13 grade. That's why the face melt did more than just become popular. It also changed the rules about what pictures could be shown and who could see them. 16. That movie joke is one of the craziest ones. With its hand raised, a monkey in a tiny vest gives the Nazi salute. But that creepy moment came after weeks of being angry. It was cute, but the monkey wouldn't bow when told to. Trainers did many things. Signs, treats, and prizes. It did not work. Someone found the way after a while. A grape on a fishing line that is dangling. The monkey couldn't get to it because they held it above its head. He raised his hand to grab the camera and rolled it around. They did it over and over until it was. Anytime you blink, you'll miss the part of Raiders that gave you chills for the rest of your life. 17. The rock looks like it came from a movie. 10 tons of fake rock, 30 seconds of worry and a hero on the run. What made it stand out though was the sound. It shook, growled and really felt like something. That huge sound though, wasn't made of stone. There was no better Foley art than this. Sound artist Ben Burt mixed a car rolling over dirt, added thunder, and put it through echo chambers to give it weight. That rock wasn't aimed at independent films. It was aimed at everyone else. A moment that was made for more than just your ears. Because Raiders' sound has had a punch. 18 years old. It was meant to keep God's anger in. It was the right thing for Spielberg to do. The Ark of the Covenant was not just a box. It was a strange, holy sign that you couldn't touch. Because it was so important, Spielberg made the crew lock it up between takes. No quick peeks or looks inside. As if it were really scary and unknown, he told the group to treat it with respect. They even said it made them feel weird, like an old being was really stuck inside. That worry showed up on the screen because we believe the impossible is possible when the arc opens. We believe the 19. It wasn't expected to go this far. No one, not even Lucas and Spielberg or the company, he wasn't even the first choice for the lead role. It was just a passion project that made people think of Saturday afternoon. In June 1981 though, Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, and everyone went crazy. It did great. It ruled. Every week everyone in the country went to see it. Kid, parent and critic all wanted to be a part of the trip. It made more money than any other movie in 1981 by the end of the year. Also, it wasn't done. The Oscars were about to start. It has won 5 awards for music, editing and visual effects out of 9 that it has won. Not only did people like it, they respected it. It went from being just one movie to a classic. Afterthoughts, theme park rides, comic books, and copies. Why does Indiana Jones still crack that whip after 40 years? Because Raiders wasn't just a big hit at the box office. After building a temple, the world kept coming back. 20. At first it was a summer project done in the basement, with stolen clothes and a camera. 3 kids from Mississippi named Eric Sala, Chris Strompos, and Jason Lamb decided to make a new Raiders movie that was exactly the same as the first one. They used cardboard to make sets, set off fireworks, and put music on cassettes. Every year, they shot a little more, every summer for 7 years. By the time they were adults, they had acted out almost every scene. Spielberg saw it at last and said it was movie, and he helped pay for a last scene that they never got to film. The thought turned into a story on its own. This shows that one movie can make a kid's whole world different, because sometimes the best trips start in the garage. Also, you can't lie about the past. If you're Spielberg, no way. Jones's jacket looks like it was just bought. It must have felt old and worn from being dragged through graves, ditches and mud in the bush. The outfit team came up with new ideas. They didn't just scratch it. It was pulled behind a truck and scraped with wire brushes. To finish, horse sweat was rubbed into the leather. Real horse sweat was collected, put in a bottle and used. The point wasn't to get dirty. That made sense. That jacket had to feel like it had lived and done things we couldn't see. In the end it did. Every fold and scratch told a story. The movie Raiders of the Lost Ark was more than just a thrill ride. It was like having lightning in a bottle, not at all planned, made by hand, and not alive at all. It gave us a hero who always looked for the truth, even when it meant getting hurt or falling. A group of artists, fans and risk-takers worked behind the camera. They didn't just want to make fun of people, they wanted to make maybe you still hum the theme song, are afraid of snakes, or remember how you used to run through the yard with a toy whip like it was the Well of Souls. This movie is a part of your story. Write something, tell us what well-known movie we should find next. The chase is what makes the story interesting, not the money.